Let's never fight again. Let's never part. Stay together forever. I missed you. Mwah! Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic. Dennis P. back sat here on my couch and musing Chelsea Football Club once again. Before I get into that Watford City review, can you please do me a big favor and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and if you're a real Batman, you'll hit that bell notification button to keep up with the latest and the newest. Okay, let's get right into it. Chelsea versus Watford at the Bridge. Last Premier League home game for Chelsea, the 37th of the season. And we emerged 3-0 winners over Watford. How did we get there? Well, Ruben Loftus-Cheek gets one, and then David Luiz with a bullet header, and finally we get one from Gonzalo Higuain of all people. His 5th of the season, Chelsea emerged 3-0 winners. Now from the scoreline, it would seem that Chelsea made light work of Watford with a 3-0 scoreline, but it was far from that. The first half, they were completely outplayed, out-hustled, and Watford were quite frankly dominating the play, and it wouldn't have been an unfair scoreline to see them up 2-0 at the half, given the chances that they had. But how did they get there? Basically, Watford employed the same tactics that, say, United did last Sunday and also Frankfurt in midweek, which is basically, at the outset of the game, set a tempo higher than Chelsea are comfortable playing at. And that led to all sorts of chaos in the midfield. Let's be honest, Chelsea have played a lot of football this year. I believe they're close to 60 games played already, and that doesn't include the international games as well. So not only are the legs tired, but the mentality, the mind is tired. Like, they're definitely a jaded squad right now. And we're seeing teams are taking advantage of that by coming out at the outset and playing at a tempo that they're not really comfortable with at this point in the season. I thought Chelsea started the game very timid, especially for a home game. They were telegraphing passes and very reluctant to release the ball after taking like 2 or 3, needless touches before making a pass. And that to me is a sign of fatigue, mental and physical, and just like a timid style of play. And conversely, Watford seized on the opportunity. They were very, very physical. They pressed high up the pitch for a good 30-35 minutes and were effective at it. We didn't have an outlet ball. And their physicality in the midfield gave us problems as well. Once we lost N'Golo Kante to injury, they were all over us and we didn't have an answer for them, really. I mean, you could tell the pace of the game was at a level Chelsea were not comfortable playing at, even as Ruben came onto the pitch. Mainly because when he came on, he struggled with the pace of the game, and you can tell that he was basically 2 or 3 steps behind each move. And to be honest, I don't think Chelsea came to grips with the pace of the game at all. If anything, I think Watford actually tired and couldn't press as relentlessly as they were in the first half, in the second half. And, we took advantage of it by playing at a tempo that we were more comfortable playing at. But had Watford taken advantage of the game and scored in that first 30 minutes, 1-2 goals like they probably could have, I don't think that we would have had a way back into that match. And that to me is no indictment of the squad as a whole. I think we all understand that this team has played a lot of football this year, and when opponents come with that, relentless press, they will produce a lot of turnovers. Basically due to the fact that Chelsea are fatiguing at this point of the season, and it's very hard to play against. I think we saw it versus Frankfurt in the midweek. They did the exact same tactic. They basically pressed us relentlessly for the first 30 minutes, and Chelsea struggled to cope with the pace of the game. As we grew into the game, and I'm speaking of both the Frankfurt game and the game against Watford, we started seeing more of the qualities that we've grown accustomed to seeing under Maurizio Sarri. A lot of ball movement, quick 1-2s, and a lot of goal-scoring opportunities. Granted, we didn't take a lot of them, but we were still in positions to hurt teams and, effectively kill the game. I have to say, my man of the match for both games, the Frankfurt game and also the Watford game, is Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think he's been fantastic the second half of the season and looks the freshest of the guys that we have playing regularly for us right now. And he is starting to grow into a player that, is indispensable in that starting 11. You notice when he's not there, and you also notice his presence when he is there. Like, he's taking the game by the scruff of the neck and willing this team over the finish line. It's basically proving to me that there is a route from the academy into the first team, and that the club does have a process that is workable. In Ruben's case, he was an academy standout. We all knew that he was going to be in the starting 11 at some point. He went on loan to Crystal Palace last year, asserted himself, came back into the team this year, and is now grown into an indispensable member of the squad. So, it shows that the process does work. Like, we just have to give it time and not rush these kids or, gas them to be greater than they are at this point in time. Just give them time to grow and mature and find their game at their own pace. I think Ruben has done that, and we're seeing the fruits of that right now. Throughout the course of the season, I think Jorginho has endured a lot of the ire from the Chelsea supporters, mainly because he's, Sarri's boy or whatever many have said. But if you evaluate his season on the whole, I mean, his first season in the Prem, which is clearly the toughest competition out there right now. And, you know, he's adapted well, I think. The last 3 or 4 games in particular, his work off the ball and his work rate and, you know, his defensive acumen has really come to the fore when we needed it the most. Some of the opinion that has been formulating about him not being, you know, cut out for the Premier League and like, you know, who is this guy? What does he do? He doesn't assist the ball. Like that is a little bit premature. Because the last 3 or 4 games, if what we're seeing right now in his game is what we're going to be seeing going forward, you know, I think we have a real player. I mean, not only is he showing that he has the ability to dictate tempo, you know, play that killer pass, and also, you know, basically get the team playing football again, but he's also showing that he has some sort of defensive awareness and the ability to intercept and break up plays as well. And it's something that we can use to build on for the future. I mean, he is fundamental to Sarri ball, whether or not you buy into that or not. He is fundamental to the philosophy of the football, which is basically you have him at the fulcrum of your attack, and he's the guy that's basically dictating the tempo. So, I mean, whether or not you like that sort of style of football, or whether or not you prefer N'Golo Kante in the holding role, the guy that's going to be like cleaning up everything as more of an anchor. It's undeniable at this point in time that Jorginho, the last 3, 4, 5, 6 games, has improved markedly and has shown that he can play in the Premier League and is fundamental to what we're trying to do as a football club. But I think from here out, I think it's important to address, you know, what's happened with Chelsea, you know, basically off the pitch, away from the tactics. You know, I love talking about tactics. It's why I started this channel, you know, just talk about Chelsea's football tactics and how they're implementing it and how well it's going. But given where we are right now in this point in the season, I think we need to look at what Maurizio Sarri has done over the course of the season and whether or not that is something that is warranting him to get another chance, you know, to, you know, build on what he has done as a manager. And if you look at the hard evidence, I think it's undeniable that Maurizio Sarri has done a good job in his first season in the Premier League at Chelsea Football Club. I mean, cup final against Manchester City, go to penalties there, lose out, unfortunately. Top 3 in the Premier League, and at the very least, a semi-final in the Europa League. I mean, if I would have told any of you that Maurizio Sarri would deliver those objectives in his first season at Chelsea, every one of you would have snapped my arm up and said, yes, thank you very much. That is a success. Over the course of the season, what has happened is we've seen good football, we've seen shit football, we've seen, you know, very indifferent football, and that has clouded a lot of our judgments and what we see from Maurizio Sarri. But given the fact that he hasn't had a preseason, he has no striker, let's be honest, Morata, Giroud, and Higuain are not top 3 level strikers in the Premier League. We come through all of that and still emerge 3rd in the Premier League and potentially with the opportunity to win a trophy in the Europa League. Every one of you guys would have said, I'm taking this and running with it, because it was unforeseeable when you consider where we started at the beginning of the season. So, you know, hats off to Maurizio Sarri. He's done a good job this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the future. It's going to be very difficult with this transfer ban and whatnot to get the players in that he needs. But, you know, he deserves the chance at this point in time. He's met objectives. It's been a tumultuous season. I mean, loads of pressure, loads of scrutiny from the media, the supporters alike. And he's met those objectives through all of it. And you know, many will tell you that he's done that, you know, in one of the weakest Premier Leagues that we've known in some time. Like, nobody wanted 4th place. Man United, Arsenal, and Tottenham have like all choked. But had he not met those objectives, given what he has been handed, you know, with these teams playing subpar football, we would all be beating him with that exact same stick. So it's not fair now that he's met these objectives, exceeded my expectations, I must say, that we beat him with a stick that says, well, he won it, he's done well, given the fact that these other teams are doing so poorly. Like, that's not the point. The point is he's met these objectives. We can only be responsible for what we are as a football club, and we've taken care of business given the fact that we had, you know, a tumultuous season. And to me, that's to be applauded, not beaten with. Maurizio Sarri deserves another opportunity to build on what he's done so far. That to me is factual. I struggle to find an argument point against this season. given what he's done so far. But on the final note, I think it's important that we acknowledge our captain, our club captain this year, Gary Cahill. He's probably not going to be at Chelsea next year, probably most definitely. And he's had a tough season and had to endure a lot of time on the bench. And he let out. He let out in the Telegraph with Matt Law about his frustrations and also, you know, the elation that he's had being at Chelsea for 7 years. And, you know, I have mixed reviews. I've always thought that Gary Cahill was a serviceable member of the Chelsea, you know, the Chelsea Football Club. He's done well, definitely coming from like humble beginnings, and has kind of like exceeded, you know, expectations at the club. He's led us to titles. He's helped us win the Europa League. He's helped us win the Champions League, which was an incredible day for him and the club. And, you know, he's just a great guy. Like, I can't knock him as an individual. I do think that like he's at the point in the season, he's at the point in his career right now where he needs to take a step back and probably play a level below top level football in the Premier League. He's probably, you know, top level Germany, top level Italy right now, maybe France. But, you know, top level Premier League, with the demands that come with that sort of football, I think he needs to find somewhere else to apply his trade. But having said that, I think that he's been a great serviceman to Chelsea, and I salute him. I think that he's definitely exceeded expectations and delivered silverware with the captain's armband on his shoulder, or on his arm. So with that said, I'm going to say, Gary, thanks for the service and all the best to you in the future. But on that note, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Chelsea are back in the Champions League. Hopefully we can kick on now and win the Europa League title. And, you know, just put some more, bring the pride back to this club, man. Bring the winning mentality back to this club, man. Sick and tired of hearing that we're just like, we're falling behind Europeans elite. Let's get back there, man. Let's show something, man. Let's just show that we're still the club that we were, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. That, you know, demand winning, demand trophies, demand titles, man. Let's do this again, man. We're back in the Champions League. This is a good first step for Chelsea now, but it's not the finish line. We need to start establishing ourselves as that European elite again, and we do that by acquiring that talent. I know we're gonna have a tough go at it with the transfer ban and whatnot, and perhaps even losing Eden Hazard, which I hope does not happen. Hoping now that we've secured, you know, Champions League football, that he, you know, sees his future with Chelsea and you know, opts to sign a new contract with us. But falling short of that, we have to find a way to improve. And even with Eden Hazard, we have to find a way to improve and find that striker, find another defender, you know, find some fullbacks that can, you know, get up and down the pitch and put in that telling ball. But, you know, we've definitely taken the first step now to achieving all these things that we've been talking about. And it's under the guise of, under the direction of Sarri. And I couldn't be more happy. I think that he's done a good job in the first season in the Prem, and hopefully he can kick on and do more in the second year, and we can show that we're back dining at that table, that European elite table that we wore, you know, years past. But on that note, you know, we got Europa League on Thursday, 1-1 draw with Frankfurt. We're looking to, you know, kick on in that and, like, you know, get to the finals and face whoever it may be, whether it be Valencia and Arsenal. We gotta find a way to take that as well. So we're gonna leave it on that note, and again, up the Chelsea, man. Let's keep that blue flag flying high.